Hello there. Welcome to another talk. Today's talk is called podcast meditation. All my talks go into like meditations. That's the way I am normally. Very meditative personality. Though I used to be the complete opposite, but this talk is called It's All Characters in a Dream That Are Nothing. And as soon as I say that, there is no me. There is no Sean. Because a character in a dream that has to start from absolute nothingness, non-existence. At some stage this has to be the case. So, even if you think of it logically, you have to have a cut-off point where there's nothing. I mean, even if you don't believe this, which, it has to be a point where there's nothing. But when I think of what I think nothingness is, that's my human brain idea of what nothingness is. And it doesn't make any sense because that's my idea. Nothingness is that which cannot be defined because it doesn't exist. So within non-existence, there can't be an idea of what nothingness is because there's nothing that exists. And that means that everything going on, or reality in general, is nonsensical. Doesn't make any sense. It means that there's no reason for anything. Because it would have no reason to do anything. It's like there's no knowing, there's no idea. But again, what I'm saying there, that's an idea. That's my idea of what I think nothingness is. I'm completely wrong because nothingness has no. Again, that's what I think nothingness is. So, you see, you can't ever pin nothingness down. It's a thing where you can't pin it down. You can't box it. You can't understand it. You see? And because it's such a limitless force, and that's the force that had to come before everything that is, that's the true self. That means that you're in infinity. That's what it means to be the oneness. The law of oneness is really understanding that you are the nothing, because that has to be the start. Nothingness is all of infinity. Right? It's the one infinity. There can only ever be one infinity. And that's true. You can't have two infinities. You got an infinity that's forever. That just doesn't stop. And again, the human mind can't understand that either. It can't understand it because it's beyond human comprehension. Right? The problem with us is we try to comprehend it through the mind, but this kind of stuff, it has to be experienced and felt, but it can't be understood mentally. You see? And the characters in the dream aren't real. The people in your life don't exist. It's like when you sleep at night and you dream, the people in the dream aren't real. It's part of your dream. You go deeper than that, there's no you. It's a bit like I once had a dream that I died and I looked into the mirror as a spirit and there was no one there. So that was symbolic. That was symbolic. That was telling me everything's nothing. Everything comes from and is non-existence. Every experience that you have isn't real. Because what can be real from absolute silence? Nothing. What can arise from that? Yeah, what can arise from nothing? And silence, me thinking nothingness is silent, that's an idea. I mean, the more ideas I give, the more I realise that it cannot be defined. So if people are nothingness and nothingness can't be defined, then we can't define people then. You know, and this makes society, as Osho once said, that society has turned everyone retarded, and it's true. If you can't define nothingness and people are nothingness, and you're trying to define them, that's just making it more crazy. If reality can't be defined anyway, then it's insanity. But they're not really doing anything, that's just the illusion within the experience. They can't ever be experienced within non-existence. But it seems to be happening. But it's not happening. I don't know how that is. But, you know, everything has to be non-existence, and you can't have anything from that. So it means that there's nothing going on. I mean, can you really define what's going on? There's all different words others have made up, but you take all that away, you probably wouldn't try to define it if you weren't told what it is. You see? And don't try to define nothingness because, like I say, that can't be defined. Because that's your idea. There's not even a this because nothingness has no this. You're talking about absolute non-existence. And as soon as you perceive nothingness as like a black screen, that's a colour. That's not nothingness. Nothingness is that which is the start of everything and it's no existence. And as soon as you perceive a no existence, you've defined it as existence. And I think that madness is the existence, is the dream. You see, science isn't evolved enough to understand this kind of stuff. This was stuff that came from, again, I don't exist, in the dream of awakening. Because when you awaken, you're awakening in the dream, but you can't awaken from the dream. You can only awaken in the dream. And realizing the dream, you're the dream. And there's no separate you. that you're completely non-existent and you cannot be defined. I am that which cannot be defined. I am the madness of defining nothingness as a nothing, which is then an idea in your head, which creates the illusion of life and realities. That's the life force there. So within that is obviously a type of awareness. And I suppose you could say that's what your life is, your awareness. But it's still an illusion. Because like I say at the start, everything has to be non-existent. And if you think what you think non-existence is, you've defined it as something, and that's illusory. Even something as simple as that. It's illusory, and nothing. It means that nothing is really what you think it is. You see? It's not really what you think it is. So I don't know. I don't know anything. But like I say, all this came from my unexpected spiritual awakening. Again, as I say that, there is no me. I'm in a dream which is non-existent, and I'm not talking to anyone. Because there's no one to talk to. It's all characters in a dream that are nothing. And I'm just going to leave it there. For latest updates and talks and songs and all sorts of different things, visit my website for all latest by me. My website address is www.lovelikefamily.com. Thank you.